Well, thanks for asking me to discuss this. I can, there we go. Let's get this going. There we are. All right. So I'm going to just talk about a little bit about where we are, where we've been, and where we could go to improve things. So over the past few years, the number of square dancers and clubs in the Fraser Valley Square and Round Dance Association have been declining. There's our number of registered dancers. It's showing a 20% decline from 2016 through to 2019, the last available data, with an average loss of over 6.5% per year. So a lot of clubs have continued to offer annual new dancer classes, but have not been able to bring in more people than we're losing each year. Therefore, the dancer population is declining. Our current system has three main impediments to growing our clubs. First of all, it's the low availability. Um, Most of our clubs have only been offering lessons once a year, usually start in September, and you've got a 2 or 3 week window to join. So if someone else wants to join a little bit later than that, if they miss that window, or if they had to miss some lessons and they couldn't keep up, they had to drop out, they would to rejoin, they'd have to wait another year until they had the opportunity again the following September. Also, it requires a high ability and dedication. As Daryl was saying, most lessons have at least the goal of graduating dancers at the mainstream program. And not all dancers are capable or dedicated enough to learn all 67 mainstream moves plus all the variations. And the Color Lab recommends about 60 hours, which requires, depending on how many hours per week you've got, 30 or 40 lessons, which means 30 or 40 weeks, and that's 7 to 9 months of every week going to lessons to accomplish the mainstream dance program. So also, usually we don't have enough people to fill our lessons, and we only hold them once a year. So we feel the need. We're quite desperate, and so we want to keep all the people that we possibly can, and we pull our dancers through and we promote them. We promote them before they're ready, ask them to join other levels, and we're always encouraging them. So this can frustrate the dancers that aren't able to keep up because we're pushing them too hard, and so we may leave them. It also frustrates those that are more capable dancers, the ones we really need to retain, because they're not able to learn and progress as quickly as they may like, and they may not be able to dance as smoothly due to all the breakdowns, so we may lose them as well. Now, also, this once a year lesson program doesn't make it easy to invite your friends. If a new dancer found out that they liked it and they wanted to invite their friends to try it, they'd have to wait a whole year before the next class came along. And also, once people have invested 7 to 9 months in lessons, they're less likely to want to start over again with their friends and encourage them to come along because they're too invested. So is what we've been doing working? Maybe when our annual classes were large, that worked out fine. We could have a class once a year, and that generated plenty of people to keep up with attrition in our clubs. But these days, our annual classes are generally pretty small, and so we just can't add enough people once a year to keep our numbers growing, and so we're decreasing. So are we increasing? We're not, obviously, by the registration, at least in the Fraser Valley, and from what I hear in other parts of the country, things are declining, unfortunately. So therefore, I think we should try another way, and I think we should consider a multi-cycle lesson program and the use of the Color Lab social square dancing program. So maybe if you haven't heard about a multi-cycle lesson program, then this is what it means. It means starting lessons more than once a year, at least 2 or 3 times a year. And possibly this could mean breaking the full teaching program up into shorter lesson segments by splitting each dance night into 2 sections to provide 2 different levels of instruction on the same dance night. That's one way to work with it, as well as using a shorter program. So the whole idea of multi-cycle lessons has been around for a number of years. There are, as Ray mentioned, there's lots of great information on the Color Lab website. And in particular, there is one on talking about the multi-cycle lesson plan. This came out a few years ago, but it discusses the benefit of having multiple lessons per year. And there have been various programs over the years that have provided 10 to 17 week multi-cycle programs. In fact, they've been used for over 20 years. So what are some of the benefits then of a multi-cycle lesson? I'll start with a secondary benefit first. I want to leave the best for last. A secondary benefit is if you can have more than one dancer group sharing the same night, it provides helper dancers with more experience to help teach the class. It increases the number of people that are showing up each night to pay for the dancing. That adds additional revenue to the night. And it may lower some costs by spreading out things like caller travel time, and maybe your hall rental rate decreases the more hours you rent it, etc. So there's some economic benefits. But the most important benefit is starting lessons more than once a year, because this makes lessons available to more potential dancers. They can restart more frequently. They can start frequently. They can restart more frequently if they want to, like every 10 or 12 weeks, let's say. They can recruit their friends sooner, and they can dance with their friends sooner. Now, here's a valuable quote. Jerry Story and the Color Lab group was very instrumental in getting this working on multi-cycle lesson programs as well as the SSD program. And this quote from Jerry sums up the importance of multi-cycle lessons and a dance program that's attainable in a reasonable amount of time so that we can sustain square dancing. And he said it's going to be something we can do multiple times a year, so we can instill our best marketing tool we have, which is friends, bring friends, bring friends. And there's an excellent YouTube video from one of the caller learning sessions that is, it's on YouTube, and I've provided the link. And in fact, I will post up a PDF of this presentation after the presentation, and so you'll be able to click the links and get some more details on this. But I really recommend you watch Jerry Story's explanation of the origins and the use and answering questions from a variety of callers. So I recommend you take a look at that. So some of the benefits of a shorter entry program or a standalone dance program. So since we just can't fit the traditional 67 move full mainstream all position program, you can't do that more than once in a program year, because it takes 7 to 9 months every week. So what we need then is a shorter program with fewer moves that can be learned in fewer weeks, and it allows for more cycles or lesson cycles per year. It allows people to join more often and invite their friends more often, which would increase the number of dancers faster. Also, a shorter dance program can move dancers from the teaching mode to a dancing mode much sooner. And so it reduces the stop and go dancing that can be tiring, and it increases the enjoyment of people dancing by providing more dancing flow. Now, there's various shorter programs and condensed teaching plans that have been proposed over the past 20 years. And all of these have kind of accumulated or led to the social square dance program. So this SSD, or social square dancing program, it's a shortened dance program. It's based on 50 moves using standard applications selected from the current basic and mainstream programs. It's designed to be taught in 12 to 14 weeks, which makes it very useful for multi-cycle lessons, since you can run a program like this 2 or 3 times in a year. It's been used for several years, and there are many success stories that have been published. Some of them are available at the Color Lab knowledge base website. It talks about how it was adopted by the local clubs and how it's helped people increase their membership. And it was recently endorsed by the Color Lab Board of Governors in July, as Ray said. So I think this could be an excellent way to bring back current dancers, to teach new ones as we emerge from the pandemic and we rebuild our clubs. And the great thing is that these movements have been selected to enable flowing choreography early on in the lessons, which is great. The teaching guide provides modules, singing call figures, pattern modules that provide examples of the choreography that can be used. Now, the SSD uses only standard applications of the moves so that we can decrease the learning time and the lesson time and get people dancing faster. But there's still opportunity to use non-standard applications, possibly some additional moves if you wanted to add some some extra variety, but those would be considered disposable moves that you might use once in a while when you've established a social square dancing club. The SSD program is designed to be a standalone, more easily attainable destination dance program with more of a focus on fun than fancy choreography. You could even run split nights of a SSD teach program with an SSD dance program to add more dancers to your club. Every night you could have more dancers come into your club every 12 or 14 weeks as you graduate another group of dancers. And the objective is to let people dance without putting pressure on them to just take more and more lessons. So the social square dancing has a lot of resources, and as we mentioned, they're available on the Color Lab Knowledge website, and there's the link to it. There's SSD docs there. Now, this includes links to the teaching guide. There's frequently asked questions. There's a Facebook link to the Facebook page, and there's much more. Now, the teaching guide provides a 12-week lesson plan. It's all laid out for you there. There's a weekly checklist, weekly lesson plans, along with the pattern modules and singing call figures, and it's all designed to make it easier for you to take up this program and use it with your groups. There's also additional resources that are available at other websites. Some of them are linked in through the Color Lab website, but Kip Garvey has had excellent success with the SSD program down in California. He's written a few documents on it. Here's some links to them. There's a recent September 2020 video from Jerry Butler, another caller from the US, that talked about that. There's also PDFs available on his presentations. And if you're on Facebook, you can go and search for the Social Square Dancing group. And there's a lot of good current discussion about the program. So now we've in the Fraser Valley Square and Round Dance Association, 2 clubs agreed to try out the SSD program, which was great. First of all, the swinging singles. I started by teaching a mini SSD program. We got through the first 9 lessons back in June 2019. The Brenzi family taught a SSD program at the swinging singles from starting in September 2019 until we all had to shut down with COVID in March 2020. And at the Town and Country Dancers, their caller, John Corrigan, also adopted the SSD program and taught that from September 2019. So we were just getting ready to go with this and see how the effects were building until, of course, we got shut down with COVID. But I think we've established and got a better idea of how this runs. And so I think that we can use this to come out of this pandemic. Also in September 2019, the Vancouver District Caller Association agreed to support this program, and we had planned to use it for our spring. I've got a few recommendations for you to wrap up here. First of all, consider the benefits of using a shorter destination program and offering new dance lessons 2 or 3 times a year. Review the Color Lab and other SSD resources and the materials and the choreography and the teaching guide. And I think you'll find it does a lot of your work for you, gives you a lot of great ideas to plan your lessons, and useful material. It's already written for you. It's fantastic. You can talk to your club, decide how you can implement an SSD program at your club and in your area. In the Vancouver area, the swinging singles and the Town and Country cooperated, and we even arranged some cross visitations of our dancers, which was fun. And then use SSD to rebuild after this pandemic, and then because we can use it to grow and then sustain square dancing on our areas. So that's all on the SSD program, but I want to mention for all the callers online here, there has never been so much free, on-demand, and online caller education available before this pandemic. People have been at home and they've been recording these sessions. People have organized these sessions. Here's a couple. There's a Corona Learning Assistance Seminar Series, and there's a link to it there. And Orange County Callers Association, and this has videos from Mel Wickerson, a caller from Australia, that has been doing these frequently. And there's a lot of the great, callers, well-known callers presenting here that is a great source of information for you all. So I thank you for your attention, and I will unshare the screen and post this video, and we can discuss if you like. Thank you very much.